Good morning, people. How are you doing? I am fine. I am Scott. That is Bo. There's no co-pilot in the co-pilot seat, I don't believe. Today, the 17th day of November, 2023. It's not 2023, 2022. It's nice and clear outside, and the crows are crowing. Cawing? Crowing? I always feed the animals out there. I feed the birds, I feed the squirrels, I feed the stray cats, I feed the stray humans, and I feed the frogs living under my fucking little stoop. Don't know why, but the crows are out there eating now, so there you have it. It is bright and early, 8 o'clock in the morning, this Thursday morning. And you have new leadership in the House of Representatives. Oh, joy. Yeah, your lives are going to change for the better now, boys and girls. I heard, is it Mike McCarthy? Not Mike McCarthy. McCartney? Whatever his name is, McCartney. On Fox. Hannity show talking about what their plans are. And he was bold. He said, "Oh, we're gonna subpoena, get that information from Hunter Biden. Find out, see if we can find some more salacious fucking dick pics of his while he's smoking crack in Ukraine. That's a big priority." That's Gabby, by the way. Another big priority for him was, once and for all, they're going to dig into this thing with the COVID-19 origin and make sure that it's the blame is placed firmly on China. They're going to reduce the deficit by cutting fucking spending. Programs that people need, of course. Seeing as how they've got a track record right now that's working for them to stop that whole fucking student loan forgiveness program of $10,000, which, by the way, he knew was going to be stopped when he did it. He just did it for a fucking stunt leading up to the midterms. They're all in on it together, boys and girls. Any discussion from them about finding out, stopping Ukraine, from him at least, stopping Ukraine and the Ukraine conflict and the mad rush to World War III. Not a fucking word. At least he didn't mention it on the video clip I saw this morning from that idiot Sean Hannity's program. Yeah, big doings, big differences. For anybody out there who was hoping against all hope that Congress would pass some kind of legislation to nationally support abortions for poor and working poor people. Fuck you. You're not going to get that. It's, more of the same. And as I said in the very first video I did leading up to the midterm elections, they're going to end up with a divided Congress. And, of course, they're going to have to compromise, which is what they always do. And I told you back then it was the same thing that happened in 2010 with the Barack Obama regime. Compromise. So there you have that bit of news. I guess the other quick thing I want to point out is this whole collapse of the FTX thing and this wildly connected fucking dude who ran it. And the fucking push now for central bank digital currencies and the fact that they are rolling out some test programs in major banks from the New York Fed to see about how effective and how useful the central bank digital currencies can be, tracking your money, keeping your money, making sure that you don't have access to your money for things that you want, and basically telling you how to spend your fucking money, which is the whole purpose of central bank digital currencies. They're rolling that out at the exact same time this semi-large and popular cryptocurrency went belly up. Cryptos, from what I understand, because I don't do cryptocurrency, I've never gotten into cryptocurrency. So take what I'm saying for what it's worth. But I've never trusted them, and I've always assumed that getting people used to the idea of cryptocurrency was always part of a larger plan to bring about central bank digital currencies. As opposed to an alternative to it, it is not an alternative. It is preparation for central bank digital currencies. And now we have a major one. So I don't know how often they pop up and die off. Pop up and die off. But I know that there's tons of them out there now. They started with Bitcoin, and there's tons and tons of them out there now, and they go up and down and up and down and up and down. And this one, I think it was called FTX, seems to have imploded at just the right time for them to be testing out this central bank digital currency to suggest to people maybe, hey, this is a more stable fucking version of digital currency as opposed to the Bitcoin. So, I mean, there's that possibility. There's a possibility that it was just simply graft from the Bankman Fried dude who ran it. His background is remarkably fucking connected. I mean, remarkably connected. And his behavior from what's coming out now is just fucking... I don't even know an appropriate fucking word to describe it. I mean, we'll talk about that in a second. I just find it a major cryptocurrency doesn't die every fucking month. Or from what I understand, every fucking year. And it just so happens that this major test rollout is happening from the New York Central Bank. This major fucking New York Federal Reserve, this major fucking cryptocurrency died right as they were rolling out their test on central bank digital currencies. With, by the way, some of the banks that are also involved very heavily with this Bankman Fried character. He's also politically connected. That's Bankman Fried, I believe his name is Samuel Bankman Fried. That's him there. And of course, that's Maxine Waters and a couple of other individuals. He's a major donor, or was a major donor, to the to the Democratic Party. He was also supposedly going to attend this thing. This thing hosted by some dude by the name of, you might know his name, Andrew Ross Sorkin. Andrew Ross Sorkin created this thing called Deal Book, and it's from the New York Times. This is Deal Book on the New York Times. It started in 2001, I believe, to tell people to tell investors, insiders, all about potential ways to make money from the markets, the glorious markets, and give them the inside scoop. As you can see, their newsletter talks about things like the G20 summit and a whole bunch of articles on FTX's failure. What the heck happened? It was a modern day JP Morgan. and it came crashing down. Let me see if I can give you, again, a layman's rundown of what FTX was. A cryptocurrency. It was not really a rival, from what I understand, to Bitcoin, but it was one of those that are up and coming fucking things. And they had they lots of money, not Enron size, collapse, but lots of money. Not Lehman Brothers, but lots of money. Dude, Bankman-Fried, and the crew that ran FTX, they all lived together in this fucking super high-end condo complex in the Bahamas, which of course they can't be fucking, you can't fucking sue them, or you can't try to go after money that's lost in the Bahamas. So they have indemnity there, but so they ran the whole thing out of that, and they lived together, and they all fucked each other and did drugs in the Bahamas, and it was just a wild time for this dude, who just living his best life at his age, super wealthy, with other people's money, had access to lots of other people's money. And just running around dipping his dick in all kinds of fucking people down there. Now, all power to him, I guess, for doing that. But he was doing it with other people's money. Basically, from what I understand, there was suddenly a run on people trying to cash out the value of their FTX coinage, or whatever the fuck you call it. And we're talking about a lot of fucking money. They didn't have it because FTX was a Ponzi scheme. No doubt about that. It's been written by many people out there who know a lot more about this shit than I do. And of course, obviously, because these guys were fucking knee deep in cocaine and pussy and fucking just having fun down in the fucking Bahamas, living a life that they really couldn't afford if it weren't for the fact that they had access to other people's fucking money. So, all of a sudden they couldn't fucking cash in their money. Then there was more of a run once that started. Once word got out, everyone said, "Oh shit, it's going to collapse. Let me get my money out." It starts to tank. The value of it starts to tank. Nobody's getting paid out, and then it crashes. Now, again, I'm a layman. I did hear that they had shut down access. They said temporarily at first, to people getting their money out of this Ponzi scheme, which is what they always do. For everyone in the world except people who were in fucking the Bahamas. And so what a few people who had access in the Bahamas, FTX holders in the Bahamas, were doing was they could still access their accounts, and they could still buy and sell and trade FTF coinage with other members who were out. So people who were out got information about the people who were in, who still had access, and they were saying, okay, sell me this NTF, a picture of a fucking dog that's worth $3, or I hope this is the NTFs are such, oh my God. You take a picture of this and go, psh, and say, oh, that's an NTF, and you can buy the rights to it for $6. They were taking NTFs, these people in the fucking, as best as I can understand, the people who were in the fucking Bahamas who still had access to it, everybody else didn't. They were taking an NTF and said, okay, we'll take it. Well, they bought an NTF for $6, and they looked at, and the people who contacted them said, I'll pay you $10 million for that. And then with the FTX money, He got the $10 million in the FTX money. He cashed the $10 million for the FTX money out, and they would send them back $9 million in real currency. Of course, wired. It would mail fucking cash to them, but so they were doing that in order to try to get cashed out. And so these people in fucking the Bahamas, who he left it open for, were raking in $1 million a fucking deal on selling $6 fucking pictures of fucking someone's dog or a toy or some stupid shit like that. Which begs the question, why did they allow them in the Bahamas to do that? And the obvious answer is the ones that they did that for were their friends. The ones who were there in FTX in the Bahamas were their friends, and they were cashing in, again, getting more money as the thing was collapsing all around them, stealing more money and leeching more money out of, and who knows how many of those accounts were actually Samuel Bankman-Fried and his crew, who had personas set up in the Bahamas and accounts for those personas holding FTX. So, I mean, it's just a fucking nasty situation. They were laundering money through Ukraine, kicking some back to fucking, using FTX, kicking some back to fucking Democratic and probably some Republican fucking members of Congress. It was just a fucking nasty, nasty, nasty thing. I mean, it makes the Wolf of Wall Street look like fucking some kid committing fucking embezzling $15 from his lemonade stand. It's just fucking awful. And these are people who, say what you will about the fucking crypto crowd, and there's a lot said about the crypto crowd, but they're investing real money. And then they watch the thing go up and down, the artificial, the fake money, the fugazi, as the guy from fucking Wolf of Wall Street said. They're watching that go up and down and up and down. But they start off with real money. This is not money that just disappears. I said this before in a previous video. This was real money at one point in time, invested by real people. And they got fucked. And they got fucked by this dude, Bankman-Fried. So, we have that story. Now, Bankman-Fried and Deal Book. Let's go back to that. There's an annual Deal Book Summit hosted by this dude, Andrew Ross Sorkin. You might remember his name. Andrew Ross Sorkin wrote the quote-unquote definitive history of the crash of 2008. It was a book. Where is him? Make sure I got this right. Called Too Big to Fail. It was actually turned into, it was 2010, and man, they jumped all over it. Why? Because Too Big to Fail, the book, and then the movie, with all these fucking guys, Billy Crudup, they had fucking Paul Giamatti, they had William Hurt, they had all these fucking guys, Ed Asner, they had all these fucking big name actors in this thing, because it was going to tell you the truth. What truth didn't it tell you? It didn't tell you that they deliberately did this on purpose in order to consolidate all the fucking money upward and to bring about the TARP bills and the QE3s, QE4s, QE infinities, and to funnel the money upward so that these major banks that were too big to fail would then be able to buy up. They didn't talk about the fucking Help America, the American Dream Act, which came about during the Bush days to allow people to buy fucking these subprime mortgages, these houses, when they didn't have $10,000 for a down payment. Well, that was a problem because they had to have something down because they knew they were going to fucking steal it from them later. The banks wanted something done, so the government came in, working for the fucking banks, and created this program called the American Dream Act, which was to take people who couldn't afford the fucking subprime mortgages in the first place. They could afford the fucking down payment. So the government gave them down payment money to then give to the banks, so the banks could create these fucking credit default swaps and all of this bad paper and collapse the economy in 2007, 2008. Are you with me so far? They didn't talk about that in this fucking glorious fucking book. They also didn't talk about the fact that back in 1998, Brooksley Born tried her level best to make sure they regulated the derivatives market, which is the derivatives are exactly what they crashed the economy with in 2007, 2008. Derivatives based on subprime mortgages. And the party that stopped her from doing that was Bill Clinton's. So this was both parties doing the same fucking thing to us. None of that was really addressed, which is why, of course, this piece of shit book and piece of shit movie won all these awards, because it told the true story, but it didn't tell the true story. So that's Andrew Ross Sorkin. Oh, by the way, just for the record, he is also, in 2007, named to the Young Global Leader program at the World Economic Forum, 2007, right about when he was writing his bullshit story about the collapse, or getting ready to write the bullshit story about the collapse. And he's also a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. And also one of the top 40 movers and shakers in the Jewish community. He was listed there 2013, just so you know. Okay, so we got Council on Foreign Relations guy, we got World Economic Forum guy, Young Global Leader guy, and of course a mover and a shaker. That's Andrew Ross Sorkin. And this is his summit with all kinds of people attending the summit. Going to speak at the summit. Volodymyr Zelensky, for one. Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary, for another. Mark Zuckerberg, for another. Eric Adams, New York City Mayor, because, of course, it's New York Times' book deal summit. And who else can we add to that list? Oh, yeah. Sam Bankman-Fried. He speaks right after Eric Adams. Oh, he doesn't speak after him. It's just his name comes after him in alphabetical order. Sam Bankman-Fried, along with all of these people, Van Jones, Larry Fink from BlackRock, Mike Pence, Benjamin Netanyahu, Janet Yellen, President Zelensky, Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Netflix, all of them chatting on the 30th of this month, along with Sam Bankman-Fried. Why the fuck is that? Why the fuck is that? Dude is connected out the yin-yang from birth. From birth. Bankman-Fried was born in 1992 on the campus of Stanford University into a family of academics. He's the son of Barbara Fried, major fucking big-time lawyer for a big-time law firm, and Joseph Bankman, also, again, big-time lawyer. Both professors at Stanford Law School. His aunt, Linda P. Fried, is a current dean of Columbia University Mailman School for Public Health. His brother, Gabriel Bankman-Fried, is a former Wall Street trader and director of the nonprofit Guarding Against Pandemics. He went to MIT, and there he lived in a co-educational group house called Epsilon Theta. So apparently a very bright individual, but he also has this thing called Alameda Research. Alameda Research is a quantitative trading firm that he founded. Now, Alameda Research, turns out, was also being funded. If you don't know what quantitative trading means, you know what flash trading is? That means trading that takes place very, very quickly. Another guy who rose to prominence in the press was somebody who helped develop that, and they claim he is a truth teller now. He and his wife have a fucking show, but that's where he got his money from, was developing software for quantitative trading. He has a company for quantitative trading, which is how a lot of ways, that's how they rig the fucking stock market. One of the ways they rig the fucking stock market. The flash crashes back in the day, before the TARP bailout fund was passed, it failed in the fucking house. And then, of course, they flash crashed Wall Street with the quantitative trading fucking programs they use. And then, Henry Paulson came out and said, you better give us this TARP bailout money. It was only $780 billion at the time, massive amount at the time, but it turned into trillions and trillions after that. But he said, Wall Street's going to crash if you don't do it, and there's going to be looting in the streets, and there'll be martial law imposed in the country if you don't give us this fucking money now. That's what Hank Paulson did. I don't even know if that's in the book or not, but that's what happened. Anyway, so long they voted again, and it passed. That was brought to you in part by the same kind of technology that Alameda Trading is. Okay, you get me? You with me so far? Alameda Trading was being partly financed. Money was just being siphoned off of FTX and straight into his private fucking business, Alameda Trading. Again, it was a massive fucking Ponzi scheme. It was just a wild, drug-induced orgy fest in the Bahamas for that fucking ugly young man. Which again, money is a great aphrodisiac, I suppose. So there he is, Don Juan of the Bahamas. And all of that's taken place around the same fucking time. Oh, well, let's not finish it. Let's finish up with Deal Book. I thought it was interesting that Deal Book is financed by a lot of the big banks. Accenture is a premier sponsor. So is U.S. Bank. Now, U.S. Bank is interesting because you want to keep that name in mind. The New York Fed launched a 12-week central bank digital currency pilot program. This is written on November the 15th, 2022, right about the time when word of the collapse was taking place, was just coming out for the FTX collapse. Banking giants, including BY, Bank of New York Mellon City, and U.S. Bank and Wells Fargo, will be issuing tokens and settling transactions through simulated credit bank reserves. So they're the same ones financing or backing his Deal Book. It's a very small little world. Anyway, they're in the process of trying out a new pilot program for central bank digital currencies. Of course, central bank digital currencies are a big thing for this guy, Mark Carney, but that's a different story for a different fucking day. And it's a big thing. Central bank digital currencies are a big thing for the World Economic Forum because it's what they need. They have to be able to move to some kind of digital currency that allows them not only to track what you spend, but also control what you spend, to tell you how you spend your money and where you spend your money. Imagine that. Imagine the banks are able to you want to buy a car, well, they can already do this by approving or not approving fucking loans. But let's say milk. You know, there's a brand, there's all these different brands of milk, but the bank is now invested in some fucking dairy fucking producing company now, major in the United States. All of a sudden the bank is invested in that. Well, they don't let you fucking buy for anybody else but that fucking bank. But that fucking, the milk from that fucking dairy producing fucking company. And that's basically the kind of control we're talking about. It's not just you can't spend your money on bad things, or you can't spend your money on giving your kids fucking $10. It's got to go through fucking cash, and so because they can't keep track of where the cash is going. It's also control. They control how you spend it. They can at that point they'll tell you which insurance companies to buy, to use, which insurance to buy. It's really to that point. And in the end, when BlackRock and State Street and Goldman Sachs, and they own all the fucking property, and we're all just renting everything, they'll be able to tell you which fucking companies you can rent from, which companies you can't fucking rent from, based on what those companies need to make their profit margins for that fucking quarter. That's literally the kind of control they'll have over you. You're just a fucking, I hate to do this because it's a reference to a movie I think is dumb as shit. You're just a battery. You're just a fucking battery. And when you're used up, like I talked about in yesterday's video with these workers at Qatar who built the fucking built the facilities for the World Cup. When you're used up, you're done. They don't give a shit about you. There's going to be no fucking social safety net. The Republicans and the Democrats will both work now. They had to compromise to get rid of some more of that, to further undermine those. And there'll be nothing. You're just a battery. And as soon as you become an unproductive battery, you're out. And that's just the way it'll be. Your Social Security, it'll be privatized. It'll be privatized in the hands of people like, I don't know, that motherfucker. And her. Those motherfuckers, all of them. Laughing and happy and giggling because they're just fucking corrupt as the day is long. So, they're launching this new program with these banks to give this a shot. There are many instances. This is from The Guardian, and this is from Cointelegraph. I had two from Cointelegraph. Well, that's from Cointelegraph as well. This is from Cointelegraph talking about some central banks have dropped out of the digital currency race. And that was a couple days ago. So the idea of digital currency being used by the World Economic Forum and the Bank for International Settlements, the idea of using digital currency, central bank digital currencies, as means of control, the idea is not readily accepted by all central banks in all nations. And in fact, there's a list of 4 here, but I was looking at it and I found several others who have started a program, looked into it, either started a program or looked into it and said, you know what, this is just not for us. It's not cost effective. People don't like it. People are concerned about it. And this is not for us. This list here includes Finland, Ecuador, Japan, and Denmark. But there are others. And if you'd like to read what they said, you can just go follow the link down below. I will post a link to you down below. Interestingly enough, there's a thing in Finland. They had a thing called the Avant Project. It was one of the first back in 1993. And this was the Avant smart card from the Bank of Finland. Interestingly enough, there's still a credit card company out there called Avant. I don't know if it's the same fucking thing or not. But I have one of those credit cards. And just for the fun of it, I thought I would bring this up for those of you. So to wrap this up, excuse me, I don't know if this is a coincidence that right when they are pushing this, coming out with this new trial run, the central bank here in the United States, the Fed, the New York Fed. I don't know if this is a wild coincidence that right when they're starting this thing up, a major crypto crashes right before. I don't know. It certainly seems to me like it could have been done by Bankman and company themselves. Because again, what's his other business? His other business is Alameda Research, which was funded by people's money taken in on the Ponzi scheme that was FTX. And Alameda is a quantitative trading firm. Is it possible that they use some of the technology and know-how from the quantitative trading firm to crash FTX, which would then allow him to shut down payments outside of fucking the Bahamas, which of course would allow him then and his friends and associates and co-workers then to use their personas in the Bahamas to conduct these possibly illegal trades with people outside trying to get their fucking money back, so they could skim even more money off the top before that thing ran completely dry. I don't know. It's possible he shut it down himself. However, in all likelihood, because of his connections, both political and to Wall Street, his connections, he would be doing a service to, I don't know, the same fucking people that he's going to give a nice speech for over at DealBook. I'm sure it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say on November the 30th. I doubt he shows up, because by then he might even be wanted in the U.S. Maybe he'll do it via satellite. I don't know. I'm sure Zelensky is, so why not? I don't know. It's a fucked up situation. A lot of people lost a lot of money. Whether it was the money that a lot of people lost, a lot of money that they invested, and they thought they had even more money. But of course, as we know, that was Fugazi. However, it turns out that they even lost their fucking startup money, their investment money, and so that's really awful. And it's also awfully fucking coincidental timing to coincide with the Fed's launch of the 12-week CBDC pilot program. So I don't know enough about the situation to tell you, but something caused there to be a run on the fucking payouts, which collapsed the Ponzi scheme. And I don't know whether he kicked it off himself or whether some of his friends in the New York banking scene and Wall Street banking scene did it for him. I don't know. But it is really unfortunate and really coincidental timing. Now, last but not least, I will share this with you. Trump is now effectively in control of the House of Representatives. Oh my God, it's awful, according to Sidney Blumenthal, father of Max Blumenthal, who is doing his level best right now, along with the Blumenthal gang a fake alt-left alternative media journalist to wipe out the party, the imaginary party lines according to them, and to work with the people on the right side of the aisle, on the alt-right side of the artificial divide that we have in this country. Max Blumenthal and all of these guys trying to work with Tucker Carlson and, of course, Glenn Beck and whoever else they're interviewing with and talking to right now, saying we got to ignore these divides. That same Max Blumenthal, his daddy, is writing about how terrible it is that the Republicans and Kevin McCarthy, I called him McCartney, I think, Paul McCartney, Kevin McCarthy, is now going to be in charge of the House of Representatives. I had to point this out because I hadn't seen, this is from The Guardian, I hadn't seen Sidney Blumenthal's name bandied about for a while. Apparently he's writing occasionally. There he is. That's Max Blumenthal's daddy. Former senior advisor to President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, and published 3 books of a projected 5-volume political life of Abraham Lincoln. Wow, I bet that's full of some bullshit. The insurrection is only the tip of the iceberg, says Sidney Blumenthal. Wow. So he does once a month-ish? Well, he took a big break from January to September, so that's why I said I hadn't seen him for a while. Yeah, there you go, Max Blumenthal's daddy. That's why Max Blumenthal has access, can go wherever he wants to go, was given jobs writing in the first place to start off with, because he was a made man. He was born to it. Much like, I don't know, Samuel Bankman Fried. But it's a meritocracy, Scott. You can be whoever you want to be. That's the message they keep telling your kids. You can be whoever you want to be, as long as you only want to go so far. Because the upper echelon, those ranks are already filled by people born to it. Anyway, I thought you'd find that interesting. I certainly did. I hope you guys have a good one. Back to me one last time, which I don't usually do when I'm finishing up a video. Hi, Bo. Look what you did. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, that's not going to help it. That's not right there. Yeah, you did that. That's not going to help. Thank you very much. He's like, I didn't mean to. Hang on a second. Let me do this. If he stays around long enough, you can actually see him. It's Bo. There he's gone. Told you. Oh well. God, I don't want the fucking camera. What? Yes, my eye is looking worse. I don't know why. It's because of the blood thinner. So it'll look like this for a while. I'm not wearing eyeliner or mascara or some kind of makeup on one side of my face. It'll look like this for a while because they don't go away when you have a lot of blood thinner in your system. So just so you know, I will address it this time, just so you know. What? Can you guys see him at all? This fucking camera, man. There you go. It's Bo. Who's that, Bo? Bo. Who's that? Do you know you fucked up my eye? Do you know who? Bo. Bo. Who fucked up my eye? It's all right. Dogs are the best. Fuck this camera. I'll fix it later. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.